No one could last more than 3 days with the billionaire pilot's twins. Not the Ivy League-educated nannies. Not the child therapists. Not even the ex-Special Forces nanny who claimed she'd handled wilder kids in war zones. The twins, Liam and Lily, were 6. Brilliant, beautiful, and completely silent. No one had ever heard them speak. After their mother died in a tragic plane crash 3 years ago, one that their father, Captain Jackson Reed, had piloted, the twins had shut down. And now, despite all the wealth and resources in the world, despite the finest care money could buy, no voice had ever broken through their silence. Until the man with nothing walked in. It was raining hard that morning. Captain Reed sat in his sleek glass office, overlooking the storm-covered runway of his private aviation firm, exhausted after firing the 5th nanny that month. His assistant entered hesitantly, eyes darting. "There's a man downstairs," she said. "He's not on the list. Says he's here for the nanny job." Jackson sighed. "Send him away. We need a professional, not some walk-in." She hesitated. "Sir, he brought soup. For the twins." That made Jackson pause. Downstairs, soaked and holding 2 mismatched thermoses, stood a rugged man in an old army jacket. His name was Aiden Cole, single dad, veteran, and completely broke. "I know I'm not on the fancy list," Aiden said calmly, "but I've raised a daughter alone. I've seen silence before. I know how to listen." The billionaire almost laughed. "And you think soup will do what 10 child specialists couldn't?" "No, sir," Aiden replied. "But sometimes, warm soup says more than cold words." Jackson, exhausted and out of options, reluctantly agreed to let him try, just one day. That evening, Aiden sat on the floor of the playroom, not saying much. Just gently setting the thermoses down. He didn't ask questions, didn't force play, didn't expect anything. He just was there. The twins didn't respond, but they didn't run either. He came back the next day. And the next. He never pried, never pushed. Instead, he built a fort out of blankets and read The Velveteen Rabbit in a voice so soft it felt like a lullaby. By the 5th day, Lily left her stuffed rabbit beside him. By the 10th, Liam brushed his sleeve accidentally, and didn't flinch. Jackson watched from the hallway cameras, baffled. Something was happening, slowly, gently, like spring thawing after the longest winter. But the real miracle came one afternoon. It was storming again. Thunder cracked loud enough to rattle the windows. The twins trembled under the dining table, curled up in silence. Aiden didn't rush. He crawled under the table with them. He didn't speak. He just hummed. A soft tune, an old lullaby his own daughter used to love. And then it happened. Lily's tiny voice broke the air. Again. The security guard monitoring the cameras choked on his coffee. Jackson dropped his tablet. Aiden froze. His eyes welled. He nodded and hummed again. Then Liam whispered too. "Don't stop." It wasn't just speech. It was trust. That night, Jackson stood across from Aiden in the kitchen. "I don't get it," the billionaire said quietly. "They have everything, but they spoke for you." Aiden shrugged. Maybe what they needed wasn't money or brilliance. Maybe it was just someone who knew what broken looked like. Someone who stayed. Jackson swallowed hard. For the first time in years, he felt his own heart thaw. "Would you stay?" he asked. Aiden nodded. "If you'll let me." Weeks turned to months. The twins began laughing, drawing, singing. Their favorite place. Not the private yacht, not the tech-filled nursery. It was that old blanket fort. Jackson found himself joining them some evenings, trading suits for sweatpants, rediscovering what family felt like. One night, as he watched Aiden tuck the kids into bed, Jackson turned to him and said, "You saved them." Aiden smiled gently. "They saved me too. Because sometimes, healing doesn't come in grand gestures or expensive treatments. Sometimes, it walks in quietly, carrying soup, and stays. So, if you're watching this and life feels stuck, if your voice has been buried for years, or your heart aches in silence, remember. Even the quietest soul can find warmth again. Sometimes, it just takes one person willing to listen." The mansion, once echoing with silence and sorrow, now pulsed with life. The twins, Lily and Liam, had started kindergarten, waving goodbye every morning with the kind of giggles that once seemed impossible. Their drawings now filled the fridge. Their laughter bounced off the marble walls. And in the middle of it all was Aiden. He never asked for more than he was given. Never tried to overstep, but what he brought into their lives couldn't be bought. Presence, consistency, love without expectation. Captain Jackson Reed, the billionaire who once measured everything in net worth, now found himself measuring days in bedtime stories and grilled cheese sandwiches. One evening, after tucking the twins in, Jackson sat across from Aiden at the kitchen island. The rain tapped gently on the windows, nothing like that first storm months ago. "I used to think money could fix anything," Jackson admitted, his voice low. "But I couldn't reach my kids. Couldn't even reach myself." Aiden smiled softly. "Money builds houses, Jackson. But it doesn't build homes." There was a long pause. Then Jackson asked something that had been weighing on him. "Why did you come here that day?" "Really?" Aiden's smile faded, replaced by something more vulnerable. "I lost my wife during my third deployment. I had a daughter, Emily. She was 4 when she stopped speaking. For 2 years, I tried everything. But I was angry, distant. I didn't know how to reach her." He looked down, fingers tracing the rim of his mug. "And then, I lost her too. Car accident. She was with my mother. I wasn't even home." Silence fell between them like a curtain. Jackson's eyes widened.